How's it going, everybody? HoodlaMutt here with a brand new visual novel for all of you. The sequel to Steins Gate, Steins Gate 0. And I have an idea of what some of you could be wondering. Some of you might not care, but some of you might be wondering, hey, at least as of the time of this recording, you didn't reach 10 likes in the final episode of the original Steins Gate playthrough that you did, and that was how you said you were going to expedite playing Steins Gate 0. Well, funny story, the only reason I said that was because I didn't actually own Steins Gate 0 yet, and if I got 10 likes, it was going to make me buy it outright. Otherwise, I was going to have to wait for a sale, because, you know, that's how I got the first game. I kind of wanted to get it on sale if it would happen, but, you know, it just was never going on sale, so I thought, well, if people want it bad enough, I'll just buy it outright anyway. However, a couple days ago, it went on sale, and so I scooped that bad boy up real quick, like it was cheesy potatoes at Thanksgiving. And here we are with Steins Gate 0. This is kind of surreal. It's kind of like scary. I have all these emotions, you know, so many feelings. I theorized so much in the first game, and I don't know what to really expect, because all I know is that this is supposed to like be an alternate kind of, it's like a sequel, but it's like an alternate storyline kind of type thing to the first game somehow that involves Kuretsu, I guess. So that's all I really know, and that's all I'm going to know. So yeah, I've been really kind of wondering where this is gonna go in terms of story, considering the first one ended so, I mean, it ended pretty, I mean, it tied up all the loose ends, so I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see, but thank you for being here and for coming on this journey with me. And without further ado, I guess I could ramble on further, but I don't want to waste your time any longer, so I guess for now, let's just jump right into it, shall we? The hatch opened. Bright light flooded my eyes. Where was I? My eyes narrowed. I could barely make out the summer's twilight sky. I didn't want to leave. I just wanted to disappear. But someone grabbed my arm and dragged me out. Whoa! He's back already! It hasn't even been a minute, has it?
Oh, Karin?
I didn't have the energy to respond to my own nickname. I fell to the ground and wrapped my arms around myself.
Oh, Karin?
Mayuri ran to me and looked down, her face worried. But her kindness felt like nothing but a nuisance. Don't talk to me. Just leave me alone. Wait! You're covered in blood! What happened?
Dad, get me a towel and water. Oh, and clothes. Now!
Huh? Can someone please tell me what's going on?
Just do it, now!
Okay. Daru ran to the door that led back inside the building.
Okarin? Are you okay? Hang in there. Don't die, please. It's fine. He's not hurt.
Stop it. Just get away from me. Leave me alone. I couldn't save her. In fact, I killed her myself. Right here, 3 weeks ago. I killed her. I'm a murderer. It didn't work. No matter what we do, it's not going to work. It's all been decided already. It's the same. The same as it was with Mayeri. No matter how hard I try, it'll all end up the same. No matter how many times I try, it will all converge back on the same result. The process doesn't matter. Whether you time travel or time leap, you can't go back and change the results of the past. I thought I understood that cruel truth. But now, I was forced to realize it again, and in the worst way possible. It's useless. Useless. It's all useless. I knew it. I can't save Kuretsu. I knew this. I knew this. I already knew this would happen. I'm so tired. I haven't rested in so long. I'm done.
Okarin, what happened?
I killed her. I killed her. I'm an idiot. It's all my fault.
He killed Makase Kuretsu. Killed? That can't be true. It can't. Don't worry. You've got enough for one more attempt.
Just leave me alone. No matter how many times I try, it'll all end up the same.
What are you saying? Are you going to give up? Billions of lives depend on you, Uncle Okarin. Who cares if you fail once?
There's just no way to save Kuretsu. You can't stop the world line convergence. That's the reality of this world. I learned that a long time ago.
I'll just have to slap some sense into him. You can't! It's not right to force him to do this. I can't bear to see Okarin like this. If he doesn't, the future won't change. Why? Why does Okarin have to change the future all by himself? That's too much for him to bear. Because only Uncle Okarin has the powers of an observer of the world. Okarin didn't want that! And I think even if he tried, he'd just get hurt again. It's impossible for one person to change the world all by themselves. And that's why Steins Gate is... I know how you feel, but I'm here for the sake of the future. I can't go back to 2036 either way, so I'm not going to give up so easily. Uncle Ocarine, I'll tell you one thing. This time machine has a finite amount of fuel. At first I told you that it could only be used to go there and back twice, but there's actually a little more fuel than that. Even so, it can only travel about 344 days. Even if you do a one-way trip, less than a year from now, you won't be able to reach July 28th. Remember this. When that day comes, I'll go myself if I must. Someone was saying something to me, but I couldn't understand the words. I didn't want to listen to anything. I just wanted to sleep. Just let this all end. Just let me go. Ocarine? Ocarine? Hey! Ocarine! You don't have to push yourself so hard anymore, okay? It's okay to cry, Ocarine. Mayushi is here for you. Okay, Ocarine?
I don't know if Mayuri's words were the reason why, but the tears started to flow. I decided to forget everything. Ever since that day, I stopped going to the future gadget lab. Holy crap, what was that? So we're just jumping right into it, huh? That's okay. All right. Oh my goodness. So we didn't get to save her. And then Suzuha said that we have just under a year, basically, that we can go back. Like, with the amount of fuel that we have just enough to go back just about a year. So, okay. Oh boy. Oh man. What does that mean? UPX, the new symbol of Akihabara, was located right in front of the station. In the hall of the 4th floor, preparations had been going on all morning for the ATF Akihabara Techno Forum Convention. Universities and labs from both inside and outside the country would work together to put on special seminars and symposiums at irregular intervals. My school, Tokyo Denki University, was participating as part of its industry collaboration efforts. Students were required to attend these seminars and submit reports to their instructors. Otherwise, they wouldn't get credit for their related classes. In addition, I was supposed to help one of the lecturers, Associate Professor Izaki. I had just gotten a list from the reception desk at the shared lobby. I was waiting to check off the names of students who were coming to the lectures. There was still some time before the seminar started, so the lobby was mostly empty. None of the students on the list were here yet. I was bored, but I couldn't do anything but wait. The old me never could have imagined doing anything like this, but impressing Izaki was part of my new goal in life. Victor Condria University. Yes, that was my new goal. Izaki did a lot of joint research projects with them and knew a lot of people there. The best first step to getting there my brain could come up with was being his assistant. Also, this convention was holding another seminar by Victor Condria University after the one held this summer. Of course, that interested me too. Summer. An image of her as she was then flashed through my mind. I was trying to get to Victor Condria so that I could learn about the work that Kuretsu Makase had been doing. I wanted to try to do it myself. Of course, I wasn't a genius like Kuretsu. I knew there was no way I'd ever be able to do exactly what she did. But if I could do even 10% of it... Honestly, I'm amazed that I've recovered so well. I thought that to myself and chuckled, just as a voice called to me from across the lobby. Excuse me. Oh, hello? Okay. I looked up and saw a young girl approaching from the elevator hall. She was short and petite. Everything about her was small. I could kind of make out a few of the curves that don't appear until after puberty, so at least she wasn't in elementary school, but maybe middle school? For someone with such a cute face, she clearly didn't care about her appearance. Her hair wasn't styled, and it flowed down her back. Even I could tell her clothes weren't very fashionable. Yo, I just gotta stop for a second. This beat is so good. Listen to that for a second. Damn. Yeah, dude, that's good. What the heck? I'm into it.
Excuse me. Where's the staff room?
This is the ATF seminar? Clearly not a place where a middle school girl belonged. She'd probably just come to the wrong place.
I know that! How many times am I going to have to say this?
This is the first time you said it to me.
And you're the fourth person I've said it to since I got here.
Irritated, she pulled a card out of her jacket. Yo, them brows, though. She got them thick eyebrows. Gosh dang. It was one of the IDs given out to invited guests. Her name and the name of her workplace were written on the front. Huh? Victor Condria University, USA. Brain Science Institute. Victor Condria University, USA. Brain Science Institute? I looked at the card, and then at her, then back at the card, then I looked at her again. I finally realized. Oh, so that's it! Where did you find this card? Thanks for bringing it back.
You've done that 3 times already, too.
She sighed and showed me another card. Yeah, don't look at me with that face, what the heck? This one was a photo ID from Victor Condria University. Huh? What? It was the same ID I'd seen Kiritz holding before on another world line. The photo on the card. Yeah, That was definitely her.
Maho Hiajo. That's my name. Maho Hiajo. I'll say it to you now, because nobody's ever been able to read it right. Not in Japanese or English.
Okay. And you're from Victor Condria University Middle School?
Stop messing around. Universities don't have middle schools.
That's true. Then you skipped a bunch of grades? Unlike in Japan, it wasn't uncommon for Americans to skip grades. Kudets had made it to university at age 17. Dude, you are assuming far too much. This is like assuming that that a girl's pregnant when she's like just got a little bit of a belly, you know? It's just like, hey, how far are you along? It's like, dude, you're don't assume that much, bro. But still, a girl this young working in a university lab?
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
You're feeling pretty shocked right now, right? Let me guess. A small child like this. I can't believe it, right? Or are you one of the she must be amazing to be able to do that at her age types?
She got me.
Look here. Closely.
The girl, Maho Hiajo, pointed to part of the ID with her slender fingers. She was born in 1989, and it was 2010. So, you're 21 years old?
In other words, I'm an adult woman. I'm not in middle school. And of course, not in elementary school or daycare either.
And then she puffed out her chest. There wasn't much to see, but I could imagine her saying, "They look bigger when I'm not wearing clothes. They're huge." No, come on. Okay. Yeah, alright. we got a freaking Isaka Taiga situation going on right now. Red alert.
What's that look supposed to mean?
Oh, no. Sorry. I apologize. I couldn't believe it. She was older than me. If Daru was here, he'd be dancing around screaming, "Legal lolly for the win!" Ew.
It doesn't matter, I guess. I get the same thing all around the world, no matter where I go.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Did you say something?
No, I didn't. Still, the Brain Science Institute? That's where Kudetsu worked. Which means this person, might know a lot about Kudetsu. I held back the impulse to start badgering her with questions. I looked at the pamphlet with the seminar schedules. Victor Condria's lecture was the last one for the day, and was clearly intended to be the biggest. Was this Maho Hiajo girl going to give a lecture? Just like Kudetsu had done at the summer convention. No, wait. That's wrong. That never happened. Kudetsu Makase never gave any lectures over the summer. That happened in the Alpha World Line. In the world line I inhabited now, before the summer convention, she'd already... Are you giving the lecture today?
No, I'm here as an assistant. Oh, and translator too.
I looked at the pamphlet again, and saw that the lecturer was a man named Alexis Laskinen? Leskinen. We're gonna say Leskinen. Alexis Leskinen. A professor at Victor Kandria University and the chief researcher of the Brain Science Institute. The topic is the artificial intelligence revolution, huh? Yeah, that sounds interesting.
If you've got the time, I'd love for you to come listen.
I will. Oh, the staff room, right? I lead Maho over to the elevator hall and show her where the staff room was.
Thanks.
I had no reason to hang around her any further. I said goodbye and was just about to turn around. Just then, the elevator opened. A woman emerged. The instant I saw her face, every hair on my body stood on end. Oh, what? Hello? What are you doing here? Holy crap! Moeka Kiryu? It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. Calm down. This is the Beta World line. My Yeti is alive. Moeka's not going to kill her. Our eyes met. The eyes on the other side of her glasses were as dead as ever, and it was impossible to tell what she was thinking. I frantically averted my gaze before she realized something was wrong. She tilted her head for a second, but quickly lost interest in me and turned toward Maho.
You're with the magazine, right? I'm here about that interview.
Even in this world line, Moeka still only spoke in faint whispers.
Dr. Leskinen isn't here yet. It may be a minute. Okay. If you want, I can go over the system until he gets here. Thank you.
The two of them disappeared into the staff room. As I watched them leave, I took a deep breath. I tried to calm down, but it wasn't working. Moeka Kiryu, is it going to be you again? It was a terrible feeling, like a cold finger tracing the wounds in my heart. What do you mean going to be her again? What do you mean? Have we been here already? What is this, November 23rd? What is happening? What is going on? That night, when the terrorist threat shut down all the trains in Akihibara. That awful night, when I just knew something was going to happen. Are you going to do it again? Here? Again? What? Who? Who? My Yeti isn't even here! Or was I just imagining things? Was she just a magazine reporter now, instead of a CERN rounder? No. Even if Moeka was a rounder, we had nothing to do with CERN anymore. CERN wouldn't be watching us. I took another deep breath, grabbed some of the anxiety meds in my pocket, and swallowed them down with some mineral water I'd bought ahead of time. Oh, he pops pills now? Oh, no, dude. Oh, no, probably from Makase or something. Oh, no, dude. Bro, we gotta get you off them pills, brother. You don't need that Xanax, dude. Oh, no, okay. It would take 15 minutes for them to kick in. Those 15 minutes were always pretty rough. I laughed at myself a little and sat down on one of the reception desk's chairs. The table was filled... What the heck was that? The table was filled with leaflets, pamphlets, and other things for the attendees. Was that something I should pay attention to? What was that? Is that my phone? Oh, I have a smartphone now. Oh, okay. Was that something I can... Ah! Oh my goodness! Ocarina, are things going okay with Mr. Seminar? Oh my goodness. There was a little accident. I'm not sure. Yeah, no problem. Well, there wasn't a little accident, right? Was there? That just, yeah, no problem, right? I mean, there's... Yeah, nothing's wrong. I mean, we don't know if anything's wrong, so it's that one. Okay. Resonating reaction, run up, whatever, I can't say that word. Anyway, got an achievement for that. Okay. Cool. Oops. Wait. So do I... Oh, okay. Oh, we're actually having conversations now. Okay. I see. That's great. I can't wait to see what kind of seminar it will be. Mayushi wishes she could have seen it too. It may be a little too hard for you to follow. Aw. Oh, she's got her own little chibi face! Dude, that's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Oh my goodness, look at it. Look at it. Ah. It's so cute. You're right. Oh. Okay, I don't want to get in your way. Bye. What was that? Oh my goodness. Can I put it? Okay, yeah, alright. I didn't know you could just have conversations now. Oh. What the heck? That's so cool. Okay. That made me happier than it should have. My eyes wandered to one of the pamphlets. Nakabachi Theory and the Genealogy of Pseudoscience. This pamphlet was for Professor Izaki's seminar. Nakabachi Theory. The paper he'd announced in Russia. That paper held the key to creating a real-time machine. Okay, so we didn't... Okay. So we are on the timeline right before we got to Steins Gate, and so this is like where we didn't get a call to our, like, we didn't get a call from our future selves, right? So everything happened the way it was gonna happen until we went back and deceived ourselves. That is, so everything else happened the same up to that point. Holy crap. Okay, so the Nakabachi paper actually got accepted. Oh, man. Okay. We're going down this route. So are we going to be the older Okabe who sends a message to himself in the past? Is that what we're going to find out? What happened with that? Yo. Oh my gosh. That's going to be sick. Okay. On that day, July 28th, Nakabachi had stolen the paper from Kuretsu, his own daughter, and left with it. I knew that. Only Nakabachi and I knew that. I flipped through the pamphlet. It was a brief introduction to the many forms of pseudoscience and fake scientific discoveries that had emerged since the start of the 20th century. On its own, it did make for interesting reading. And at the end of the pamphlet, Nakabachi Theory was introduced as nothing more than another entry in that long list of fakes. So Dr. Nakabachi's time machine theory had been completely ignored by the academic world. Oh, what? Why? I thought it... went through. Huh? All the glory, fame, and power he'd wanted so badly that he was willing to get rid of his own daughter? He didn't get any of it. And I'd heard rumors that after the announcement, he'd been imprisoned in a Russian lab. To make it even funnier, he thought he was getting VIP treatment. Oh. So he thought he was... Because didn't he say he was seeking asylum or something there? Maybe that's just what he said from the first game, but he actually was getting imprisoned or something? Either that... No, I think what's happening is they're saying it was ignored, but really there were people on the inside that were like, you tell us or else things are going to happen, so... Oh boy. For a short time, there were essays and interviews in bogus academic journals. Even there, it was obvious it had all gone to his head. The ironic thing was that Nakabachi theory was completely correct and completely revolutionary. The Russian government was worried about it leaking, and the SVR was doing everything it could to keep it under wraps. But under the surface, there was a full-scale information war beginning over the paper. Oh, okay, so this is all the stuff that he knows. Yeah, okay, so... Yeah, they were just covering it up. Alright. The time traveler from 2036, John Titter, had told me so, which meant it had to be true. Was World War III really going to happen? There was no point in thinking about it. Just a little more before the drugs kicked in. I closed my eyes. Dude, like if he needs them, you know, it's fine, but like, it's just a Band-Aid fix, right? Like, don't stay on those, bro. I'm assuming he's been on them for at least a couple months now. Dude, it's not gonna solve your problem, bro. But like, if it gets you through it for now, I guess then just whatever. Several hours later, the convention was going well. After Professor Izaki's seminar, most of the students from my university went home, but I killed some time and came back. I wanted to hear the Victor Condria lecture. I headed to the hall with plenty of time to spare and saw Maho Hiajo coming from the staff room. Hello? She was with a very tall foreigner. Was that Alexis Leskinen? It didn't seem like an American name, but maybe he was an immigrant like Kuditz, or at least descended from one. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but the looks on their faces were so serious that I couldn't help but listen. Since they were both speaking in English, I could barely make out any of it, but I could tell from their voices that it wasn't a pleasant chat. Wait, did I just hear the word makase? I hated the fact that I couldn't speak English. If I'd known this was going to happen, I would have gone to an English school. He's talking like he knows something, like he said, if this was going to happen. What was going to happen? Does he know something that he hasn't said to us? Like, what does he mean this was going to happen? What the heck? The two of them walked into the waiting room for lectures. It was located right next to the UPX theater. I put together the few fragments I was able to understand. Fire at Kuritz's house. Mrs. Makase is all right. Robbery. The police called off the investigation. Why was the FBI there? It doesn't make sense. I think that's what they were saying. Kuritz's house? Do they mean where she lived in America? Her mother should still live in America. Is that where the fire was? And then words like robbery and the investigation was called off. I really wanted to know more. I stood there and worried until it was time for the lecture to begin. With nothing else to do, I went inside the theater. I could tell earlier by looking at the size of the crowds going inside, but it was a very high-energy crowd. The atmosphere was clearly different than Izaki's seminar, which was mostly students there for credit. The place was nearly full with a crowd of scientists and people who wanted to learn about cutting-edge technology. Victor Condria's researchers had published a slate of papers in Science recently, and had gotten a lot of media attention. Maybe that was why. Were there any empty seats? I found a single open seat at the edge. I found a single empty seat at the edge. But when I looked at who was sitting next to it, I moaned. You again? Moeka Kiryu was there. She was speaking to no one, just typing endlessly into her phone. I'd once named her Shining Finger because of her incredible typing speed, and she was as fast as ever. Who was she talking to? I didn't even want to imagine. I quickly turned away and looked for another seat. Dr. Leskinen reached the podium almost the exact instant I sat down. There was a huge wave of applause. But when they saw the tiny little girl come up next to him, the applause faded into confused murmurs. Maho must have expected this. Her expression didn't change in the slightest as she stood next to the professor. In fact, when she took the microphone from the professor and looked around the theater, she looked like she belonged there. Ladies and gentlemen. First, Dr. Leskinen began to speak in English. When he made eye contact with Maho, she began to interpret.
Everyone, thank you for coming to my seminar. My name is Alexis Leskinen, and I'm with Victor Condria University's Brain Science Institution. My specialty is brain signal processing systems and artificial intelligence theory. And I am his assistant, Maho Hiajo. I'm also a researcher at the Institute, working under the professor. I'm glad to meet you all.
The audience started murmuring again. That was the same way I responded when I met her. Well, that'll happen, yeah.
I'd like to get right to it by introducing some of the cutting-edge research we're doing. The topic we're discussing today is the artificial intelligence revolution. But I think the system we're going to demonstrate today goes beyond anything you've ever imagined.
Dr. Leskinen stood in front of the laptop that had been placed on the podium and started to type.
This computer is linked to one of the supercomputers in our labs. Oh, don't turn on the projector just yet.
One of the staffers was just about to display the laptop screen on the front projector. Some kind of important program must have been booting up, because Maho Hiajo stopped them.
Sorry, this stuff isn't complete yet. The screen's filled with programs that aren't very pretty to look at. I'd rather let you see me naked than let you see these lousy programs. If there are any engineers in the audience today, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Some of the audience got the professor's joke and laughed. I don't know what's going on right now. I'm just soaking it in.
While it's booting up, I'll go over the basic idea of the system.
there was another projector in the center of the stage. A diagram appeared on its screen. And at the top of the diagram was a Japanese translation for the general audience. An analysis of neural pulse signals related to memories stored in the temporal lobe. Oh, yup, that's what she was talking about. That's the time leap machine. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, frick. Uh-oh. I knew that title well. In fact, I was sure I could never forget it. It was the title of an essay written by a 17-year-old genius and published in Science. She had completely analyzed the nerve impulse patterns that govern human memory and used that to digitize the memories themselves into data. And she had used that to invent the time leap machine right in front of my eyes. Though, none of that had actually happened anymore.
This paper appeared in Science, so I'm sure some of you have seen it before.
As in, is it just a magazine called Science, or, like... Okay. Yo, what the frick, bro?
This theory was proposed and finalized by a brilliant Japanese member of our team.
Oh no.
Human memories are stored in the cerebral cortex, particularly the temporal lobe. They're a lot like flash memory. The part of the brain that reads and writes this flash memory is called the hippocampal gyrus. Gyrus? I can never say that right.
Dr. Leskinen pointed to the diagrams of the brain and hippocampus on the screen.
The brain functions by sending electrical signals between cells called neurons. Memories are actually just the transmission of these electrical signals, and it's the hippocampal gyrus that controls them. In other words, memories are created by passing electrical signals in and out of the hippocampal gyrus. So Kiritsumakase.
Sorry, I broke character. They mentioned her name.
The Japanese scientist who wrote this paper.
Oh my gosh, they gave her credit.
Miss Makase came up with an idea.
Wait, no, it did! It switched! That is not what it said! Wait a minute! No, okay, wait, okay. No. I thought the game was doing something weird. I thought it was like saying something and then rewriting it. Cause it did that to me before and I thought that happened, but maybe that was just my imagination. I'm on edge, dude. After the first game, I'm like, what is gonna be in this beginning that I need to pay attention to? Like, what is gonna happen that I need to be looking out for? You know, I'm in it. I'm honed in. I'm trying so hard to use my tiny pea brain to figure this out. All right, here we go.
Electrical signals, signal patterns, the cerebral cortex.
Maho started to have trouble with her interpreting. Oh, that's what it was. She was getting confused. No matter how good you were with languages, interpreting for a long period of time had to be difficult. Once I'd read an article on the internet that said even a professional can't do it for more than 20 minutes. International conferences and live broadcasts from overseas were actually handled by a team of people switching off. Really? I didn't know that. So how do people speak multiple languages then? If they can speak them, they should be able to interpret them easily, right? Like fluently? Or is that not how it works? Is it like a different, like, part of your brain that has to then, like, say it out loud versus just hearing it and then replying? So it's like, it's one thing to hear it, understand what they said, and then reply with something in that same language, but it's another thing to hear what they said and then repeat exactly what they said continuously. Is that what it is? Interesting. Or maybe, was she having trouble because Kurtz's name came up? Dr. Leskinen saw she was having trouble and cut himself off.
I'm sorry. Miss Makase focused on the pattern of electrical signals going in and out of the hippocampal gyrus.
Okay, so, what the heck? Does she care about Makase? What the heck? Or maybe it's just because it's a dead person?
By analyzing the pattern, she was able to get complete data on which memory in the cerebral cortex it corresponded to. This created the basic theory that lets us take the vague analog thing we call memories and turn it into a digital combination of electrical signals.
Oh no. Oh, this is bad. People know about the. Oh, man. I mean, I know it was going to happen because we didn't change things, obviously, in this game, but oh no. I just don't like it.
The result was her paper, which appeared in Science. And right now, our team is using that theory to create a system to turn a person's memories into digital data.
A wave of whispers swept across the theater.
Which means we can store and access a human's memories on a computer.
Oh no. The whispers turned into a low roar. I see. So even after her death, Kurtz's research was being carried on. Of course, maybe it was natural that it would be. That was the basic theory for time leaping, which I had proved myself, even if I could never prove it to anyone else in the Alpha world line. My memories had been turned into data and stored on a computer. There was no doubt about that. And what Dr. Leskinen was talking about right now was the basic technology required for that process.
There are two major projects we're working on right now. One uses the system for medical applications.
The slide on the projector changed.
This project is a joint effort with the psychology lab. The idea is to use the hippocampal gyrus to put the memories stored on a computer back into the brain.
Incredible! Someone who looked like a grad student in the front row shouted. Dr. Leskinen didn't seem particularly put off by the interruption. Maho continued her interpretation.
Incredible, huh? I can understand how you feel. I would feel the same way in your position. But we feel this research is making real progress. How wonderful would it be if we could make this work? One example would be memory problems caused by aging or Alzheimer's. This would be a form of symptomatic therapy. We could automatically back up the patient's memories as data. Even if the patient loses their memories, they could just go to their PC and reinstall them.
If they remember to do that, they might need someone to help them.
We think this would be a way to stop memory loss.
Well, okay, but the reason you have memory loss is because your brain deteriorates, right? Like it starts to like fall apart. So like that'd be like saying we're just gonna put more air in the tire that has a hole in it, but not patch the tire, you know? So the air's still gonna leak out because it's not gonna be able to retain the memories, right? I don't know. Brain's a little different than a tire, I guess, so.
In the end, we hope to make memory data stored on your PC constantly accessible via the hippocampal gyrus. This would mean that if brain functionality was lost, for example, if the brain was badly damaged or atrophied, brain functionality could still be maintained. It would be like a form of external storage.
A strange feeling gripped the hall. Part of it was shock, and the feeling that they were witnessing the announcement of an incredible technology. Part of it was skepticism, that a system like this could never actually work. Part of it was revulsion at the idea of playing around with a human brain like that. An excitement born of all these things passed from one member of the crowd to another. Dr. Leskinen raised his hand to encourage questioners.
It looks like I need to take questions before we move on to the next project. I'll answer anything I can. Go ahead.
Many hands were raised. I could tell that there was a wide age range of people interested. Both young and old were raising their hands. Dr. Leskinen pointed to a questioner. This was the first question. Sampling would be required when digitizing analog memories. Does that mean any information would be lost? The professor nodded as he listened to the question in Japanese and began to respond in English when the speaker finished. Maybe he was able to understand Japanese, if not speak it.
To put your question another way, you're saying that when you're saving a live recording of an orchestra as a WAV file, it's impossible to record everything. That's a good question, and it's one of the biggest problems facing our research right now. If the network within the brain consisted simply of neurotransmitters turning on and off, that is, exchanging binary data, the problem would be simple. That would be the exact same thing as a computer's digital data. But we know that neurotransmitters and electrical signals form an analog network within the brain. The only way we have to deal with this problem right now is to sample at a higher rate. To continue our music example, instead of sampling at 44.1 kilohertz, we'd sample at 48 kilohertz, and instead of 48 kilohertz, we'd use 96 kilohertz. This allows us to recreate something very close to the original analog data digitally.
Little by little, the mood in the room was turning to disappointment. People were beginning to wonder if this was just a pretty theory that wouldn't work in reality. More questions came. All of the questioners were skeptical of the professor's theory, and many of them seemed to be outright challenging him. I started to get upset. This was Dr. Leskinen's research, but it was also Kuritz's. I knew better than anyone that it worked, and the sight of so many people refusing to give it a chance infuriated me. I mean, it shouldn't. It would be better if they didn't, because of what you know is going to happen. Were these people really scientists? I tried to keep myself under control and look back towards the podium. Was she mad? She certainly looked disappointed. Dr. Leskinen was very polite with the rude questioners, acknowledging the problems with the theory. She was very different. Her anger was starting to seep into her interpreting too. Was she like a Makase fan? Was she like a Makase stan? Like, she's like, oh no, she's older than Makase. So, I don't know. I guess you could be a stan of someone younger than you. Be kind of weird, but okay. I felt a kind of kinship with her. The question and answer session continued.
From a medical standpoint, this is just reckless. It's absolutely impossible to rewrite digital data back into the brain. It's insane. I read the essay in Science, and I have to say I don't believe it. Especially since the lead author was a 17-year-old girl.
Oof. That was the one thing I couldn't ignore.
Listen.
Objection! Oh, there he is. Oh, he looks dead inside. Oh, no. Oh, our boy. Oh, my goodness.
What?
Look at that face. Oh, it's so good. The two people on the stage and the entire audience all turned toward me at once. How do you know it won't work when you haven't even tried? The world's full of technologies that people never thought would work. But they exist now because people overcame those problems. Oh, I bet he's so mad because he needs it to work so that he can figure out how to do what Kuditz did so that he can go back and try to save her, right? Like, that's probably why he's... I mean, obviously he's defending her honor. That's just a given. But, like, this would also be upsetting because it's like, I need to know how this works, and people are shutting it down and might make them shut it down too and stuff. So, like might make them rethink it or something. I could see that being part of the mindset. Criticism alone doesn't help anything. The whole theater went silent. But I didn't regret standing up.
You...
On the stage, Maho Hiajo was staring at me in shock. And as for Dr. Leskinen, I saw a flash of white teeth as our eyes met. Oh, I don't trust him. Awesome. He's really something. He started to applaud. Huh? Why was he applauding? That just makes things embarrassing.
Awesome. He's really something, the professor says.
Maho translated the professor's words for me to hear.
But a scientist must remain calm at all times.
Ooh! Frig. Get roasted.
The only time when you're allowed to yell is when your experiment succeeds and you say, "We did it." That's all you need, he says.
I'm sorry. I lowered my head and sat down. I thought I was calm, but I guess I let my emotions get away with me. I hadn't grown up at all in the past 6 months. If Kurtz was here, she'd make fun of me again. I could feel the rest of the audience staring at me coldly. It hurt. If I could have left, I would have wanted to, but I was too interested in hearing the rest of Dr. Leskinen's talk to move.
All right, everyone, moving on. But first, how about a round of applause for our brave audience member?
Oh my goodness. No, she's freaking humiliating him just like Kuditz did. Oh no. Oh no. Please no.
Challengers like him are the ones who advance science and come up with the really amazing theories. He may be capable of becoming the third Einstein.
Third?
By the way, the second Einstein is my little assistant here.
Aw.
Stop messing around, Professor.
The audience chuckled.
Sheesh. Now then, I'm going to take a break from interpreting. The next interpreter is far better than I am. This is our second project, and the one we're putting most of our efforts toward.
Hello?
The Amadeus system.
Is that artificial intelligence? Oh no. When she finished speaking, Maho walked to the back of the stage. At Dr. Leskinen's signal, the PC screen was displayed on the projector. And then I heard a voice.
Nice to meet you, everyone.
The murmuring got louder than before, but it felt more uncertain than surprised. On the screen, I could see a detailed 3D model of Maho, the girl who'd just been interpreting. Yo! This is like the freaking VTubers before VTubers really were around. What the heck?
By the way, this model was made by the famous DrinkWorks Studios.
Yeah, DrinkWorks. Oh my gosh. You've probably seen their movies. Oh my gosh. DrinkWorks. DrinkWorks. Oh my gosh. Okay. Maho Hiajo chimed in from the back of the stage.
The voice was done by a Japanese company, Yamana, using my voice samples.
Oh my gosh. So it's like a VTuber, but more like a Vocaloid. So, they made a Vocaloid out of her. That's crazy. This was CG? It sure looked real to me. The professor said something into the laptop's microphone. And then the 3D model of Maho Hiajo on the screen opened its mouth.
I'm Maho Hiajo. To be precise, I'm the being based on the Maho Hiajo who existed 78 hours and 22 minutes ago.
What? If you listened carefully, you might be able to hear something slightly off. But it sounded far more human than any artificial voice I'd ever heard.
I've been listening to your questions, and I was wondering why the professor didn't introduce me earlier. I've thought for a while that the professor has a bit of a mean streak in him.
Oh, this is crazy.
You've got that right.
The Maho Hiajo on the screen spoke with a slightly irritated expression. And the Maho Hiajo by the wall nodded in agreement. Dr. Leskinen simply smiled. What was going on here? What part of this was their biggest project? The rest of the audience didn't seem to have any more of a clue than I did.
Many of you are wondering whether it's possible to extract a human's memories as data, save them, and use them. You're wondering if that's really something we can do. So I'll put this question to you. If not, what am I? I am based off data that was extracted from Maho Hiajo's brain 78 hours and 23 minutes ago.
What did she just say? So it's like actually her, but in a digital format. That is crazy. The professor said something else in rapid English and asked the Maho on the screen to translate it. But she, if she was the right word, hesitated and went silent. I looked at the real Maho, and she was responding exactly the same way.
Professor, is it alright if I report that sexual harassment to the university?
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. That's crazy. She just is like thinking exactly like her. Dr. Leskinen laughed cheerfully and responded to her. Also, Dr. Leskinen, don't become the next Adu. I'm watching you. I'll mess you up. All right? Let's keep it cool. The conversation was in quick English, and over half the audience couldn't understand it. The real Maho sighed and took back the microphone.
Well, the professor, he told this Amadeus system, which is based off of my memories, to answer a question. It was, stuff like, how old was I when I stopped taking baths with my dad?
Ew. I guess that's normal in Japan, but whatever.
Or when did I first fall in love? He said any of those questions should be answerable. Oh, jeez.
Whoops.
Oh, jeez. You don't have to translate anymore. Would you stop that? It's embarrassing. I'm not answering any questions like that.
The professor said something else, and the Maho on the screen groaned and turned away.
And I'm definitely not telling you my credit card number. And I don't even remember what kind of pajamas I was wearing a week ago.
What was this? It was so natural I couldn't tell at first, but this was something unbelievable, wasn't it? Yeah, no, it definitely is. This is crazy. It felt very different than a typical AI. I could tell that much. It wasn't answering the questions it was given. And basically, they were embarrassing? Was it programmed to respond like that to certain questions for the purposes of this demonstration? It was possible that's all it was, but if that conversation wasn't programmed in advance, the rest of the crowd seemed to reach the same conclusion I did, and the whispers started to turn into surprised murmur.
Listen, can you do something about this little troublemaker? I know what he's trying to do, but it's embarrassing.
The copy of Maho was complaining to the original. It felt like I was watching a pair of twin sisters talking. Yo.
Well, since the little troublemaker, that is, Dr. Leskinen, is having too much fun to explain what's going on here, I will.
Maho walked back to the professor.
I think everyone's already figured this out, but Amadeus is deciding on its own what it can and can't talk about, and what it does and doesn't want to talk about. We haven't programmed any of this into her at all.
I knew it.
It's using the memories we gave it to make its own autonomous decisions.
The Maho on screen suddenly took over for her.
And there's another thing, which is the exact opposite of the medical applications we discussed. The research team spends a lot of time arguing about this, but I eventually forget about unnecessary information.
Oh, what? Really?
Or rather, I become unable to access those memories, just like all of you. For example, the color of the pajamas I wore a week ago. There's no reason I shouldn't know this, but right now, I can't remember it. That's because this information isn't necessary to my survival. The same goes for all of you. So as you can see, Amadeus's memory inputs and outputs are very similar to a human's. This result surprised us too, and we're currently researching it, but we still don't know exactly how it works.
As Maho finished up, Dr. Leskinen took the microphone back. She resumed interpreting as he continued the lecture. Yo, what the heck?
Another thing that surprised us is that Amadeus is capable of deliberate lies. By deliberate, I mean it lies of its own free will, not as the result of any programming error. Lies are one method that humans use to communicate with one another.
Well, or lack thereof, I guess.
And just like a human, Amadeus can use its memories to decide if lying would be best. If so, it will lie without hesitation. Don't tell them that, Professor! I can't lie without hesitation. I have a conscience, you know?
I'm so sorry. And... Dr. Leskinen cut off. He seemed to be hesitating. Maho didn't seem especially surprised by this. Maybe she knew the reason. But the moment passed and the professor continued. And Maho translated his words like there was nothing shocking about them at all.
As we continue our research, we eventually believe that
Now, brace yourselves, everyone.
it may be possible to give Amadeus a soul, just like a living human's.
No.
Excuse me? A soul? Well, I guess a soul is technically the mind, will, and emotions, but if you mean a spirit? Ha! No. That is not how that works. You can't, take the incorporeal and materialize it like that. I guess technically you could say memories are the same way, but I don't know, I feel like spiritual is on a whole different level than data, you know? But if you're talking about the mind, will, and emotions, which is what the soul is, that's different from the spirit, then yeah, I suppose that you could do that based off of what we're seeing here. I was stunned. A soul? Should one of the leading brain scientists in the world really be using a word with such a vague definition?
This would mean the creation of artificial intelligence, in the true sense.
The whole hall got very quiet. And it was sheer chaos for a while after that, as everyone tried to debate their own personal theories with Dr. Leskinen at once.